Edited AN. Hello, this chapter has been heavily edited, so if certain comment threads don't make sense or things are just different in general, then this is the reason. Also, the chapter cover art and end card art were both made by me. Hard for all. No. Please enjoy. Part 1. 1. Everywhere you glance or peer, only a handful of people fill the streets. The roads are somewhat deserted in a similar fashion, a couple of cars driving by from time to time. The night just rolled into its later hours, and for whatever reason in this city, on every weekday of every month, season or year, most people were at their homes. Whether it was due to fatigue from work or some other daily responsibilities, very few people seemed to have any business this time of day. It honestly gave the city the atmosphere of a ghost town that came to being in the late hours of the night. It was very peculiar, yes, but appreciated all the same. Because for Izuku Midoriya, it means it's that time of the day where his mind, body and soul can reunite with tranquility. The tranquility that vanishes during the many, long, hellish hours of the day. For Midoriya, it genuinely always surprises him how the quiet, subtle night contrasts the bustling, chaotic day. It makes him wish it was nighttime all the time, where he can drift to sleep and enter the peaceful dreamland, remaining there forever. Yup, he never gets tired of the night. The indigo sky decorated with countless stars, giving his eyes something gorgeous to get lost in the silence. The peace, the beauty of this one night, was enough to make Midoriya sigh in bliss before letting out another sigh, this one defeated, only moments after. Honestly, he doesn't want to admit it, but he's had enough of his routine, uneventful life. It's strange to think about now, since Midoriya's life was nothing but fun and excitement just a couple of years ago. Man, he was so alive, constantly bursting with interest and creativity. Some days he wouldn't get a wink of sleep because of how excited he was for the next day. Midoriya chuckles dryly, staring at each street light he walks by through his shaded view. Things were so different, things were so simple. The magic, the spark, the energy, the wonder, they were all gone, replaced by mundane repetition. And suffocating stress, so much suffocating stress, every single day. Today especially was very stressful, to the point where he just needs to be alone. He's been searching for a nice, tranquil place where he can just unwind. Promoted stories. You'll also like Garden of Green MHA Izwocha 15.1K 453 in which Ochako Uraraka, in her second year at UA and no longer in denial of her feelings for Izuku Midoriya, contracts the deadly Hanahaki disease. After all, Unriki, UA's Ghoul, Izuku, 029K934 Bina X Tokyo Ghoul, all it took was one date for Izuku's world to be turned upside down and changed forever. Desperately trying to hold on to his dreams of becoming a he. I am here for you Izwocha 236K 4.4K characters. And settings all owned and created by Kohei Horikoshi. This is a non-profit fanfiction edited by Nimish Wankade and Kaori 112 Arc 1. Ochako is worried Abu. Playboy hollow right pointing triangle Bakudaku 248K 7.7K. But that isn't going to stop me from taking back what was rightfully mine from the fucking beginning. Izuku and Uraraka are best friends, nothing could ever tear the My Hero Academia 180 degrees is Ixocha Deku, 2K36 Izuku. Midoriya faces his darkest day as no one truly believes in him. Even All Might, his greatest inspiration, urges him to be more realistic about his dreams. Disparate, Shining Light Izwocha 40.4K 912 Quickless, Normal, no heroes or quirks. Izuku Midoriya and Ochako Uraraka have been best friends since kindergarten. But when problems in high school try to drift them, just feeling better 101k 2.5k after a long break, Izuku returns changed and feeling better than ever. What will the class think of their cinnamon roll? This story goes through, in short, of his Chan. Usually, his immediate choice is the public park. However, that's also a very obvious choice and he knows the others will find him that way. And he really can't look at his friends right now, not after today. It doesn't help that his phone keeps going off, probably messages from the same people he's trying to avoid. He desires nothing more right now than to bury himself alive. Eventually, after walking around for several minutes, the universe answers his prayers in the form of a cafe that seems to be still open not too far up ahead. It's a bit strange since most food establishments close after a while. Even so, Midoriya almost beams, picking up his pace to get a better look at it peeking inside from the window. He mentally rejoices when it's practically empty with the exception of a single waitress cleaning the tables. He takes a couple steps back to get a brief look at the name. Suzuki Cafe. Never heard of it, Midoriya mutters before a smile appears. It's perfect. Wasting no time he waltz in, the door hitting the bell as he does. This fails to get the attention of the waitress and Midoriya notices she has earphones in, a quick thought crossing his mind. Huh, haven't seen earphones in a while. Wireless buds are so popular these days. Shrugging, he decides to take a seat anyway, moving to a vacant table a bit further from the entrance. After getting settled, he takes a moment to sigh, sinking into his chair. Honestly, he just wants to crawl in a hole and never come out. A familiar beeping sound reaches his ears and he lets out a rather loud groan before tiredly fishing for his phone in the pocket of his dark green hoodie. The light from the expensive device's screen shines on his sunglasses as he scrolls through endless messages from almost every person he knows. He's able to summarize literally all of them as, "Where are you? Please come home, we're worried sick. And of course, you can talk to us about it." Why does everything I do always have to be everyone's business? Why can't they all just let me be alone when I want to be? It's always the same. He reaches the top of his messenger with an irritated huff and his narrowed gaze stopping at his editor's chat. 45 new messages. Never miss a beat, do we? The greenette mumbles, rolling his eyes. He boredly skips straight to the last message just for the heck of it. Iida Tenya. Where are you, Izuku? I've told you a million times to stop wandering off. Everyone's worried sick. Despite expecting this exact message, Midoriya stares at it with an unamused expression. You, leave me alone. Having typed his piece, he places his phone on the smooth, round wooden table and traces a hand through his curly green hair that was gelled at the center, eventually pulling down his hood. He somehow feels even more tired than he did before leaving home, his stress levels rising by the minute. He understands his friend's sentiment, he really does, but goddamn they aren't helping at all right now. He removes his sunglasses, and his round eyes usually filled with an exceptional light, stares at his reflection on the table, half-lidded and exhausted. Midoriya places a hand on his cheek, drowning himself in his thoughts about his careers and life that are really beginning to feel like draining house chores. I just don't get it. Another sigh escapes his lips. When did I lose my passion? When did I lose my drive? I know the others have been trying to help me, make me feel better. But I just can't see life the way I used to. I just can't continue like this. I just don't know what to do. Excuse me. Sir. Comes a delicate voice and Midoriya swears at this moment if he had not looked up, he may have actually started crying. Alas, he blinks tiny tears away, pulling himself out of his depressed thoughts and directs his eyes to the waitress he saw before entering the cafe. Finally able to see her more clearly, He takes a moment to notice her short bobbed chestnut hair, chocolate brown eyes, peach skin and rosy cheeks. She looks young but not too young. If he has to make an educated estimation, she's probably 18. Overall she's quite simple looking, but something about the nervous smile she offers him makes him intrigued. "Hello, there," he quietly greets her back. "Ah," she blurts out before squeezing her eyes shut, pursing her lips and putting her hands together. "I'm so sorry, sir." Midoriya, startled, blinks at the sudden apology but lets her continue. "I wasn't expecting any more customers this late, so I decided to listen to music while I cleaned up the place," she says sheepishly, gesturing to the pair of pale pink earphones. "They're cute," Midoriya thinks, still a bit surprised there are people who use earphones nowadays. "I hope you weren't sitting here for long." Her tone of voice becomes even more nervous as she stares at the green-haired man. "He's been here for almost 30 minutes without any service. At any other place, he would have probably left. However, since he was seated in a small cafe, in the middle of the night with a single cleaning waitress to attend to him, he decides to humor the girl." "No, I wasn't. Just a few minutes really." He watches as her expression switches from worried to jubilant in seconds and she quickly gives him a bow. "That's great. Sorry again though, so can I get you anything?" Midoriya has to think about this one. He doesn't really feel like having anything at the moment. In fact, the only reason he came here is because nobody else is and he wants some peace and quiet. Still, the waitress seems so eager. Maybe a little something won't hurt. He nods at her and she quickly runs off to the paying counter. After a moment or two, the green-haired man turns to the brunette who returns with a charming menu. She hands it to him before bringing out a notebook and pen from the pocket in her apron. Midoriya takes a quick look over, deciding what he wants. "I'd like some green tea please, but no milk or sugar. And some biscuits, thanks." The waitress's brown eyes light up in curiosity and slight shock. "You drink your tea without milk and sugar, sir?" How? Her question isn't rude, but the way she asks it makes her sound like a wondering child. It causes Midoriya to chuckle, which surprises him. "I've always drank it that way, ever since I was a kid. I feel it helps me focus more if it's without the sweetness." "Wow, that sounds really mature, sir," the waitress says, finding this new piece of information insightful. Midoriya chuckles again. The girl smiles before giving him a look of recognition. "Hold on a sec," she says slowly, having just realized something. Midoriya stops smiling when he notices the look in her eyes. That's when it hits him. In his tired state, he pulled down his hoodie and took off his caramel-tinted sunglasses. Which means his face is now in the open and the girl can perfectly see who he is. Damn it. "I really don't need this today," he mentally sighs. "I've seen those sunglasses at a store once." Quote dot dot dot. Noticing his confusion, she elaborates, scratching her cheek. "Oh, sorry. I wanted to buy those sunglasses some time ago, but I had to use my money for food instead," she says, much to his surprise. For the first time in a long time, his eyes widen in shock and a bit of fascination. He continues to stare at the girl as if she is the most amazing thing in the world. The brunette stares back at the man, now her turn to feel confused at his calculating gaze. "Is it something?" she said. She twirls a piece of her hair awkwardly, avoiding his large eyes that resembled emeralds. "Is there something wrong, sir?" He keeps staring at her until, to her surprise and his own, he bursts out into a beautiful laughter. It reverberates across the whole cafe, filling the brief silence between them with cheerful noises. The girl stares at for a moment before her cheeks begin to redden in embarrassment. Is he laughing at her? After a few seconds, the green-haired man notices her discomfort and stops laughing. Well, at least he tries to. I'm so sorry." What you said just reminded me of something unbelievable. The girl stops blushing and asks the man, what? Midoriya sighs blissfully. He turns his now softer, brighter gaze to her before propping his cheek back on his hand, a genuine smile brightening his features. That the world is still full of surprises. Huh, the young waitress wonders what he means by that. She also finds herself distracted by the man's expression. He looks happier. He looked a bit upset when she greeted him, but now he seems more elated. And she doesn't have a clue why, but she just noticed how genuinely handsome this guy is. Curly, messy dark green hair, bright tealish green eyes, skin that's a nice blend of pale and fair, and wait, are those freckles identical too? They're so cute. She can't get exact look at his body while he's sitting, but from what she can see, even with his somewhat bagging clothes, he was quite well built. His hands are nice too. They look like they're strong and rough at the touch. Uraraka gets so lost in his attractive appearance, she doesn't even realize she's staring. Midoriya does, however, his smile widening just a little. He stares back at her with a half-lidded gaze and chuckles. Uraraka, right? She snaps out of whatever trance she was just in, fixing her gaze with his. Clearly a rookie mistake, as she immediately blushes after. It really feels like his eyes are saying, "Lol, caught you staring." Before she can feel embarrassed again, she remembers what he said. Whoa, wait. How do you know my name? Another chuckle from him. It's suddenly hot for some reason and she doesn't know why. It's on your name tag. He replies in a low voice, pointing at said name tag. His voice. Oh, the waitress, Ochako Uraraka says sheepishly, feeling her cheeks heat up once again. She just can't catch a break, can she? Right. Midoriya holds back yet another chuckle. He's having the time his life apparently. Can I get my order now? Order. Oh, of course. Sorry, sir. I'll be back in a jiffy. She runs in the direction of the kitchen. Who says, jiffy? He wonders in his mind amusedly, watching her leave. He doesn't know why or how, but this young girl has caught his interest and put him in a good mood, which he hasn't been in for a long while. He almost impatiently waits for her to come back as he taps his fingers on the table, staring at the ceiling in a daze. When she finally returns, she places his green tea and biscuits in front of him and he thanks her gingerly. Midoriya offers Uraraka a seat, but she hesitates. He seems to understand as he's just a stranger. However, he's in the mood for some conversation even if it's nonsensical. Although, he doesn't force her. He seems like a nice guy. She ponders. After a moment of thinking, she takes a seat and the two talk about whatever's on their minds. It isn't long before they're switching between topics like nothing, talking about different deserts one second to movies and TV shows the next. In the midst of their conversation, Midoriya watches the girl intently. She's so energetic and easygoing, her attitude puts him at ease. When was the last time he had such a relaxed conversation with someone? He's been so busy these days, to the point where he barely spends time with his friends and family. And yet somehow, this girl he just met tonight is granting him the peace of mind he thought he'd get from sitting alone in some quiet place without even trying. How strange, he wonders to himself, taking a bite out of the last biscuit on his plate as Uraraka goes on and on about a bad romance movie she saw, accompanying her criticism with outlandish gestures. He chuckles a bit at how worked up she's getting while nodding and adding his points into the mix about the terrible writing. That kiss scene was horrible. The main characters barely knew each other and had no chemistry whatsoever, and yet they kissed like they've been in love their whole lives. No awkward nose bumps, no hesitation, no longing looks. Just swoosh. We're kissing now. Ridiculous. Uraraka fusses, puffing cheeks in irritation as she remembers the scene. Midoriya finds it cute while trying to hold back his laughter. I swear, And the book wasn't any better. It was so obvious it was written by some 15-year-old trying to fulfill their love fantasy instead writing an actual good romance.
Okay. Shut up.
The Greenette chuckles. Well, someone's clearly a romantic. Or else you wouldn't be so hung up about it. Guilty as charged. I can't help it. Romance is so beautiful, don't you think? The brunette asked as she tapped her fingers together. Midoriya smiled before a thought came to his mind. Well, I suppose I do. Have you heard of movie called Cupid's Hero? Cupid's Hero. I love that movie. It's based off a book, right? I've been wanting to read it forever but I never have the money. The movie was so good though, I've never seen such incredible writing. Uraraka gushes and Midoriya smiles softly as he takes a sip from his cup as she continues. But that's to be expected, it was written by the number one writer.
I told you these so good.
Midoriya chokes on his tea. They're amazing. So many of his books and novels have been adapted into incredible movies, anime and TV series. I've never gotten a chance to read his books but I've always watched whatever adaptation that comes out. I'm a big fan. Seems you are, he chuckles nervously, wiping his mouth with a serviette. Sashi knows the title but not the person, huh? That's so strange. Does she live under a rock? What about you? Do you like any of his work? She asks him. He raises an eyebrow, a slight smirk forming on his face. He shrugs. Meh, he's alright. Wah, alright. You take that back, he's way more than just, alright. The brunette stands up, furrowing her eyebrows at Midoriya. He blinks up at her in surprise. He's an incredibly talented writer and I'm sure he works extremely hard on his books. The astounding and well-written stories are proof of that. I heard he even goes on to write the script of most of his adaptations so people like me who don't have access to his books can still enjoy and experience his work. He stares at her for a moment before pursing his lips a bit. His grip on his cup tightens as he looks to the side. She says all that and yet, that might be true.
I freaking told you to leave it. What did I fucking tell you?
Midoriya begins, but you can't deny that recently his work hasn't been all that revolutionary, right? Well, I'm not wrong, am I? He's released nothing but spin-offs and sequels and even those are beginning to lack that spark he used to have. He hasn't released anything new in months. He might as well be heading to the pits. Don't say that. The brunette meets the girl's passionate eyes again as she tightens her hands into fists. It's true that his work hasn't been as fresh and new as it used to be, but that doesn't mean his career is over. Maybe he's just going through a slump right now. Maybe he's just being pressured. Maybe he feels he's not as creative as he used to be, but that doesn't mean it's over. Quote. He'll get out of it. He'll get over what's holding him back. I know he will. I might not be a writer or be good at writing in hell. I'm just some fan he doesn't know about. But even so I believe in him because he's my role model, my hero. And I'll continue to support him in my own way. Even if you might never meet him. Even though you don't know what's going on in his life. She shakes her head and smiles. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to know me to know that he's being supported by me and his fans everywhere. She stares at him softly. I bet you're actually a fan of him too, sir, but you're just frustrated because you can tell that the person you admire is going through a rough patch. I get how you feel. I really do, but please don't lose hope in him. She smiles brightly. Don't lose hope in the symbol of literature, the number one writer, Izuku Midoriya. When his name left her mouth, Midoriya's heart skips a beat. He gazes up at her with such awe and admiration, like he just received a message from an angel. He's never met this girl in his life. He doesn't even know if he'll ever come back to this cafe, and yet, he feels like this meeting was fate. It sounds crazy, insane even, but he believes it. The brunette opens his mouth, trying to find the right words, but he's speechless. Instead, he takes another sip of his tea and sighs a pleasant sigh. After a moment of silence, in which he closes his eyes, contemplates her encouraging words, he places his cup on his plate and pushes it forward. You're a strange girl, Midoriya finally says. Huh, she's taken aback by the sudden comment before puffing out her cheeks. I am not. The man snorts. I never said it was a bad thing. He smirks slightly as he continues in a low voice, I happen to like it really. Oh, Uraraka's cheeks heat up. Midoriya narrows his eyes and points a finger at her. Your face is red. What? Huh, shut up. No, it's not. The brunette babbles, turning away from the man as she covers her cheeks. Midoriya chuckles again before checking his phone. He put it on silent a while ago, and it's just been flooding with messages and missed phone calls from Iida. The brunette sighs again before bringing out his wallet and placing a few notes on the table. Keep the change, he says as he stands up, stretches. She looks back at him but realizes she has to look up at him now. She blushes again when he catches her staring again. I'll be going now, Midoriya says, moving a little closer to her. Try to work on that habit of yours, Miss Number One fan. What habit? I don't know what you're talking about. Uraraka replies, feeling embarrassed. She can't help if she finds him attractive, geez. Sure. Midoriya rolls his eyes. Hey, not that I'm complaining or anything. You're pretty cute too. Maybe I'll visit again. Really? Uraraka looks up hopefully while blushing over being called cute. He grabs his sunglasses and gives them to her. It's a promise. After all, I can't just let a fan as passionate as you go. I'll definitely be seeing you soon. So don't forget about me, Uraraka. As she takes the sunglasses, she can feel her cheeks heat up again. Okay. She smiles sweetly and it melts his heart. What's your name by the way? My name, he thinks, glancing to the side nervously. He eventually remembers his alias, and while it's usually reserved for those close to him, this is a special case so he has no choice. It's Deku. Deku. Huh, that's a really cute name. I'm Ochako Uraraka. She tells him, it was nice meeting you, Deku. He gives her one last smile before finally walking to the door. He opens it and goes out. He looks through the window and waves to her. She waves back and watches him leave. She sighs at the feeling she has. He's such a simple yet mysterious guy and he's hot too. She blushes at that but shakes her head. She honestly can't wait for his next visit. As she picks up the cup and plate from the table, she notices a piece of paper that is underneath the plate. Uraraka grabs the paper. To her surprise, written on it is Midoriya's phone number along with, I hope you'll call me. When did he even? She leaves her question hanging in the air as she quickly grabs the money and dashes to the kitchen to clean up, putting the number in her bag. After changing, she locks up the cafe and leaves for home, with only the man's number on her mind. Meanwhile, Midoriya's phone's by his chauffeur. It's a good thing it's pretty late. Giving her my sunglasses wasn't the best idea. It seemed to make her happy though, so I guess it's fine. The phone picks up. Oh hey Ojiro. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry for worrying you guys. I'm done sulking now and ready to go home, so could you come get me? Yeah, I'm near this cafe called Suzuki Cafe. Oh, you know it. Great, I'll be waiting. He ends the call, looks back at the cafe one last time and smiles. Then he looks to the stars, the only thing on his mind, a certain brunette he can't wait to see again. OMG guys, I got goosebumps writing this. Midoriya's a bit OOC, but that's because he's older and not trying to be a hero. But overall he's still the same. Tell me what you think, carrot carrot. Also, if you noticed I'm using the dub spelling for Uraraka's first name, which is Ochako, instead of Ochako. Edited. Hello, it's me from the future. I hope you enjoyed the edited version. I put a lot of work into it, but I think it turned out okay. Tilda Destiny style anime, where stories live. Discover now.